It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Kyle Benedict as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. Great to have you in studio with us today. We're going to talk back to school again. It's kind of a back to school week this week, as next week school does start. Across much of Yavapai County through the month of August, you'll see more kids on the roads, school buses on the roads, parents taking their kids to and from school, and after school programs going on. So we're going to have to keep our eyes open for the young people as they go to and from school. Officer Matt Watson with the Cottonwood Police Department in studio today. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Your first time sitting in that chair.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. You are also the school safety officer.
That's correct.
And that's what I want to start off with first, because I was saying school resource officer, and I have been for many, many years, and I was told that you're no longer considered a school resource officer. You are a school safety officer.
That's correct.
Why the change?
What happened was a lot of the school resource positions were funded by a Safe Schools grant. And of course, with funding and budgets, as we know, across the state, across the nation, funding's being cut in a lot of different things.
Sure.
So Mingus Union High School and Cottonwood Middle School were the schools that used to always get the Safe Schools grants, which they weren't awarded them this last time. So as a department, we sat down and talked, and we decided to come up with the school safety officer program. And what I do now is I go around to all the schools within the city limits of Cottonwood.
Okay. How many is that?
Currently, I have 7 schools I'll be going to.
Wow.
I go to Cottonwood Elementary School, Cottonwood Middle School, Mountain View Preparatory, Mingus Union High School, St. Joseph's Catholic School is going to be falling under us since they're building the new campus out by the church.
Right. Okay. Okay.
Verde Valley Christian School and Montessori School.
So all schools, public and charter.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a big job.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So how do you break that up?
What I do is I try and go to each school once or twice a week minimum, but I don't have a set schedule when I go there.
Okay.
Because I want to make it random so people don't know, okay, we always see the police vehicle at the elementary school at this time. Okay. So I try and switch it up.
It's Thursday. Officer Watson's going to be here today.
Right.
Mind our P's and Q's today.
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's smart. That's smart to break it up a little bit. All right. So that kind of explains it. So then grant funds were brought in because we decided to do one officer umbrelling all these schools? Is it just easier? It's never easy to get a grant, but...
Right. It's not through a grant.
Okay.
The department's paying for it, and some of the schools are actually putting some money towards to help fund the position.
Okay. All right. So it's funded through the city and through the schools.
Correct.
Okay. Gotcha. What type of presence do you like to have when you're at the schools? Because now that you're telling me that you're in so many different schools that range in so many different ages, how do you kind of handle your presence at the school? What's your task when you roll up on the school? What do you do?
The first thing I do whenever I get to any of the schools is I stop by the office. I see if they've had any problems, if they need any assistance with anything at that point. Just kind of find out what's been going on around the school as well, see if they've been having any issues. And then I go and walk around this campus. Especially with the like the elementary level schools. I try and get there around a recess time so I can go out there and see the kids outside playing on the playground, maybe pick up a ball, play some catch with the kids. And it's inevitable. Kids see a police officer at school and they see you're out there with them. They'll come over and start asking you questions about, like, what do I have? What am I carrying? What's my job like? Do I drive fast? Those kind of, typical little kid questions. So I just try and have that positive interaction with the kids when I'm on the campuses. Okay.
All right. Establish that you're not a bad guy.
Correct.
That I'm not here to just arrest people all the time.
Right.
I've got other jobs as well that I do. And we're talking before the show, you have quite a few jobs that you actually do. I'm pretty amazed at how you can divide things up with all the schools that you handle and still go in. You actually go into the classrooms as well.
I try and get into the classrooms. As a matter of fact, last year, working with the Cottonwood Fire Department, we started a program with Cottonwood Elementary School, and we're going to see about trying to expand it this year. But it was for the special needs students. It was a life skills class. And so once a week we'd go in there and teach them water safety, tools not, or toys not tools, stuff like that, trying to show them, just teach them different life skills that's going to help them later on in life.
Gotcha. Okay. What are some of the other topics that you talk about with the kids?
Some of the other topics, and again, it depends on what grade level I'm going to. Younger grade levels, I talk about stranger danger.
Okay. So 6-year-olds?
Yes, 6-year-olds. I would go in with like kindergarten classes, talk about stranger danger, even just do an introduction of myself and explain to them why I'm dressed the way I am.
You go just like that?
Yes,
full uniform?
I do. Okay. Full uniform. But I'll bring in different things that we use on the job so that they can see all the stuff that we have.
Like what?
I've got one of my older protective vests they'll take in there so they can actually see our protective vest.
Okay.
All the officers in Cottonwood have helmets, so I'll take in the helmets so they can see what the helmets look like and they can put it on and wear it. And so they're having that fun aspect while they're also learning.
Now, how long have you been a school safety officer?
This will actually be going on my 6th year. 6th
year, okay. And you said you were with the Cottonwood PD for 10 years.
Yes, that's correct.
So in your 10 years of doing this job, or 6 years in doing this job, I imagine you have kids that you talked to when they were 5 and 6 that are now 12, 13, 14 years of age that probably know you pretty well.
Yes. Going around to all the schools, last year was the first year that we really did that. Previously, I was primarily at the high school, and then if there was something else going on, I would go to the other schools just to be assistants because I'm familiar with how the schools do things. So I'd be like the first responder to go to a school for, say a kid brought a knife to school or something like that. So I'd be the officer that would go to that. But yeah, I have had kids that recognize me in Walmart and kids that remember me going in and during Dr. Seuss Day.
Okay.
So
you're known. So for the little kids, you're talking stranger danger and things like that.
Right.
So, and before the show, we were talking about how I said you've really got to be a pretty talented guy to be able to go in to a classroom that's full of 5 and 6-year-olds, and then turn that hat around and then go talk to 15 to 17-year-olds. What do you talk to the older kids about?
With the older kids, I talk about, one, because they're getting to that age where I talk about Arizona laws so they understand what the laws really are.
Okay, that's a good one.
Because a lot of times people just hear what something is and don't really understand fully what it means or what it entails. So I talk about Arizona laws with them. I talk about the dangers of drug use. The big thing is internet safety. And that's for like the middle schoolers and for high schoolers because
I haven't thought about that one.
Internet is very popular with all the kids nowadays because technology is everything for them.
It's not going anywhere.
Right. So I talk about internet safety. I also talk about bullying and cyberbullying. So,
wow. Okay. That's a lot of topics. You got to be a pretty busy guy all week long.
Yes.
Yeah. So do you, in addition to going to the schools, do you still patrol and do other police duties?
If need be, I do assist patrol. If they have a lot going on and they need extra help or they've got a lot of calls coming in, I'll actually step out from the school role and go take patrol calls.
All right. Let's take our first break. Cottonwood Police Officer Matt Watson in studio today. He's the school safety officer for the Cottonwood area. Stick around, Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
When I was 6, my days were spent playing basketball. When I was 6, my dream was to make it to the NBA. When I was 6, my mom had a stroke. I'm Paul George, and I want you to spot a stroke fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911. Protect the ones you love. Spot a stroke fast.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
Welcome back to Countywide. Cottonwood Police Officer Matt Watson in studio today. We're talking back to school safety. I think we should probably talk traffic laws. Normally we just do kind of a quick story, maybe get a couple sound bites from Chief Fanning or something like that about back to school safety in terms of the traffic laws with the school buses and school zones and things like that. School buses, I think you can have just about everybody tell you they've seen that school bus stopped, loading kids, unloading kids, the stomp arms out, the flags are flashing, and cars are just going by like they're standing still, and they are standing still. Let's start with school buses. What are some of the laws regarding school buses?
Well, the biggest law is with school buses, and here in Cottonwood, because we don't have any divided highways that the school buses run on, is if a school bus stops and they put their stop sign out and they have the red lights flashing, all traffic needs to stop in both directions.
Okay, so for instance, 89A right out here in front of the station,
yes,
runs all the way through Cottonwood. If the yellow left turn lane had grass in it, rocks in it, or whatever, and it was a median that divided traffic in each direction, the other side could keep going, but that's
correct.
That's not the case.
Correct.
It is a turn lane.
Yes.
Okay, so if a school bus is stopped, arms out, stop arms out, lights are flashing.
The traffic in both directions then have to stop because it's not considered a divided highway. And with that, you have to stop until until the bus turns off the lights, the stop sign has come in, and they're starting to move forward. Because one of the main reasons that they have all that for the school buses, and the schools do a phenomenal job with talking to the kids that ride the school buses. They have practices, they have emergency drills. I mean, they instill on the children what to do. Mm-hmm. Just like the kids are supposed to go, are all taught that when they get off the bus, if they have to cross the street, they have to go to the front of the bus so the bus driver can see that he's got a student crossing the road.
Okay.
So the students aren't supposed to go to the back of the bus and then try and dart across because the bus driver's not going to know it and might possibly drive away.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose a kid shouldn't get off the bus and stand on the sidewalk, wait for the bus to leave, and then try to dart across the street, okay? It's like, okay, you've got this here.
Right.
This is supposed to protect you, so now go. So I imagine the bus drivers are also taught that, okay, if you've got kids that are going to cross 89A, for instance,
right,
that you need to, I suppose they're probably trained to make the kids wait until they know everyone has stopped and then let them go.
And the interesting thing about with that is because there's not always going to be an officer with every bus. We don't have enough officers and we have other things that we have to do. Interestingly enough though, bus drivers, if someone does blow through their stop sign or fails to stop for their stop sign, they can actually write down that information, give it to the director of the bus services, and you could receive a letter in the mail saying, hey, we observed you doing this, and just what the letter does is basically explain the law, saying this is what you need to do.
Okay, all right, so I guess maybe a good rule of thumb is if there's a school bus in front of you, Just be ready.
Yes, be ready to stop.
Odds are they're going to have to stop.
Yes.
Okay. All right. School zones. You were telling me before the show we really don't have an official school zone.
Correct.
But
just watch your speeds around the schools. For the parents bringing their kids, because especially the first few days of school, and it goes from the elementary school all the way up to the high school. Parents generally will bring their students the first few days. Instead of rushing out the door trying to get there in time because there's going to be so many people there, just leave a little bit earlier and just watch the speeds. And also watch the speeds in the parking lots as well, because you're going to have the kids that are going to be darting between cars trying to run up to the school. And if you're going too fast in the parking lot, the last thing we want is to have an accident in the parking lot.
And those people are so small too.
Yes.
Those kids are tiny.
Yes, they are.
So, okay, that's a really good point, I think, is that, okay, you know, Monday, if Monday happens to be the first day of school for your kids, make sure you leave, what, maybe 15 minutes, 20 minutes early?
Right, because there's going to be there's going to be so much traffic there.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing to watch for with the parents dropping off their kids is the schools have designated bus loading and unloading areas and also designated fire zones. So you can't be blocking the fire zones and you can't be blocking the bus loading and unloading zones.
Are they clearly marked, do you think?
Yes, they are.
Okay, so maybe over the weekend, because I was talking to Barbara Uren, Cottonwood Oak Creek School Superintendent, earlier this week. Maybe this weekend it'd be good to take the kids, put them in the car, go down to the school they're going to be going to, and just kind of roam around it.
Yes.
And become familiar with it.
I would encourage that, because especially for the students that were at like Cottonwood Elementary School last year, and this is going to be their first year at the middle school, to go walk around the middle school so they can see where their classroom's at, so they won't have such a feeling of being lost the first day of school.
Right, yeah, everything should go much smoother. I imagine we'll have a more heightened police presence for a while around the schools in the morning and the afternoon as the buses are coming in and leaving and stuff.
Yes, there will be.
Okay, I figured that'd be pretty typical. That's kind of a standard story we do here every year, is that you guys will be out there. Not everybody gets a ride to school. Not everybody rides a bus to school. Some of the kids will walk or skateboard or ride their bike to school.
Right.
Anything parents should know and guardians should know that tell their kids before they head out to do that for school?
And kind of like we were talking about with the same idea about leaving a little bit earlier, making sure you know how long it's going to take you to get to school driving. Maybe this weekend, walk with your student to school so they know how long it's going to take.
Mm-hmm.
And then have them leave a little bit earlier, because students have a tendency as they're walking to slow it down because they're talking to friends or they see something that catches their eye or something along those lines. But just stress to your student to make sure to use the proper crosswalks.
Okay. Crosswalks, signals, ride the bike on the right side of the road?
Correct. With the bicycles, they're supposed to follow the same rules as the vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So they're supposed to stop at stop signs, they're supposed to use signals if they're going to be making a turn.
Get those helmets?
Get the helmets.
Get the helmets on. All right. All right. Good stuff. All right. Cottonwood Police Officer Matt Watson in school today. We're talking about, I said it again, he's in studio today. We're talking about back to school. This is Countywide. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
If you don't fix them, sparks from dragging tow chains could cause a wildfire, and that could be scary.
Hi, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
If you store your guns properly,
I'll feel safer when I'm playing outside.
Safer when walking home.
I won't have to tell so many family members. I'm sorry.
I won't hear as many scary stories.
And I won't have to tell my kids. This isn't a drill.
Please.
Please, do it for us.
Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Never let your gun get into the wrong hands. Remember, always, lock it up. Visit ncpc.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left in the program, and there's one other thing I wanted to remind folks of in terms of when their kids go to school is when I was a kid, I could probably bring a toy gun to school and maybe a toy knife and some of those kinds of toys to take with. But these days, times have changed. It's a little different. So how is that handled when toy guns and knives are brought to school?
Especially with the toy knives and guns, it depends a lot on how the student's using them. If he's producing it and making actions as if he's trying to hurt another student or anything along those lines, it's taken a little bit more seriously. A lot of times if it's a toy gun or a toy knife, more than likely the principal or assistant principal will take that toy from them and have the parents come and pick it up and just sit down and talk to them. Look, probably not the best choice of a toy to bring to school.
Okay, what about the real deal?
Real deal's a little bit different situation. And again, it also depends on what exactly is taking place. If a student just happens to be found with the pocket knife that they had in their backpack from camping over the weekend, similar situation, parents are going to be called. The student might get in a little bit of trouble on the school level, but there really wouldn't be any kind of charges. And we've had it on a few occasions over the years that I've been working with the schools where kids have been into a fight and one kid will make a statement about having a knife or something like that. That's looked at differently, and then there would be charges for having a weapon on campus.
It gets a little more serious then.
Right. And same with, we have kids that, up in this area, we have a lot of kids that go hunting with their parents or
I was going to ask you
hunting.
that too. Right, hunting. We've had some cases like that where
they've
hunting season,
they've forgot and left something in their vehicle or something like that.
Right.
If we can verify the truth to that matter, they won't necessarily get in trouble with law enforcement for having the firearm on campus. But if they happen to bring one and there's no valid reason for it to be in the vehicle or anything like that, then they would be facing weapons charge of a firearm on campus.
Okay, and that's pretty serious.
Yes, it is.
That's serious. As far as I know, that's pretty much a zero tolerance for
Correct.
weapons on campuses anymore.
Correct.
But there are exceptions to the rule, like the hunting and a few other things that take place. Okay. Anything else we need to make sure we get out there today?
Well, and for like at the high schools and just even all the schools, one thing parents have to realize, and especially the older students that do drive themselves, the schools actually have the right to search a student's backpack. And that would be done by the school, not by me as the school safety officer, but the school actually can search a backpack if they believe something's there.
Okay. Right.
And for the students that are driving at Mingus, they're able to search the vehicles as well.
Oh, just if they want to, they can.
Well, they have parking lot attendants that go through, and if they say you have that kid that hunts, and there's spent casings in the bed of the truck, it might draw that parking lot attendant to kind of look to see if he sees anything inside the vehicle, and if so, they can bring that student out and search the vehicle.
Gotcha. All right. Officer Matt Watson, thank you so much for coming in today. Very informative. That is today's Countywide. Back to school next week. Everybody be safe. I'm Paul David. We'll talk to you again next time.